Hello, and welcome to another episode of Minority Reportz podcast and digital series. I'm your host, Mona Sheikh. Oh my God, thank God it's Friday. Why is it so freaking hot outside? Can anybody explain this to me? I was just telling our guest today that my skin is what you call well done, because I decided to take a walk like a lunatic because I didn't bother checking the temperature. And by the time I got outside, it was too late. It was too late to turn back. And now I am extra ethnic today. So that's the look that I'm going for. But enough about me. We have an amazing guest on today. You guys know that I try to bring on as many cool and amazing guests as I possibly can. And today's guest is a fellow stand-up comic. I had the privilege of having her on my show last year when she murdered the room, as she always does. She's fantastic. You have seen her. I mean, I was just looking at her credits. She's amazing. She has been on Dead to Me. She's been on the Mindy Project. I mean, she's fancy. What can I say? She's fancy. The very funny Jen Kober. Jen, my friend, how are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
Oh man, I am extra crispy today is what I am, my friend.
That's what I hear. I love hearing people that live in California bitch about how hot it is. You don't know hot. Let me tell you something that you don't know hot. I grew up in Louisiana. Okay?
Oh, wow.
So not only is it like this temperature hot, like it's clearly like 95 degrees, but it's also 1,000% humidity.
Ooh.
So it's all about like sweat. It's all about sweat, not just like you take a shower and you step outside and you're like, I need another shower.
Right. I grew up in Pakistan, and our temperatures go up to be 120 degrees. Oh. Like our summer.
I see what you're doing. You're pulling the Pakistan card right off the fucking bat.
Listen, we're going to talk.
I say Louisiana, and this bitch goes Pakistan. Are you fucking serious right now?
Listen, you're like, you don't know. I'm like, no.
You're like, bitch, I do know. Apparently, I do know.
I'm like, no, it gets super fucking. And even though we have an ocean, it's like supremely hot. So
I live very close to the ocean, so I'm very lucky that it really does not get as hot here as it does.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're not sweating. So I was shocked. I was like, oh, the AC must be blasting.
I don't sweat. I sizzle, and I don't have AC.
You don't. Do you live in Santa Monica?
I do.
There it is.
I love that you know where I live just because I don't have air conditioning.
That's the Santa Monica signature. If anybody knows anything about Santa Monica, Malibu, and all these places, it's like you don't really need air conditioning. That's like
you don't. Yeah. My electric bill is like $17 a month. Thank you, Jesus.
You know what?
The rent is $75,000.
All right. You know what? The show's over. Let me just end this episode right now because I can't take it. Besides my skin burning, my ass is burning on top of this.
I have that effect on women. I have to say that.
Ass burning. I love it.
Yes.
That's funny you said that because I have that effect on men because I like to burn their asses. So
I get it.
That's amazing. Now, how has the pandemic been treating you? Have you been one of those comics who's been very busy with online shows? What have you been up to?
I've done some online shows. I'm starting to get a little more TV stuff is coming through. A couple more auditions. I booked a little tiny part on a show and went and got 8,000 COVID tests and did that.
Oh wow!
So it's starting to pick back up. I'm sorry.
Can you talk about that show? What show is this?
I can't tell you anything. But let me tell you this. I'm never gonna work again. It's a show that I didn't even know was on television. It's on a major network and it's in season 4. And I've never heard of it.
Wow.
So I was like, and my friend was like, my mom loves that show. I was like, oh, old white people are watching it. I get it.
That's why I'm not watching because I'm not old white people yet.
Yeah, exactly. You're not. No one's watching it. I didn't know it existed. And what I thought it was, turns out that's not what it was. Like, so I literally had to like go Google this shit before I showed up on set. So
wow,
it's a lot.
Did you tape the audition like at home and then they just booked you off of that one audition, or did they do a callback?
No, they booked me. It was 4 lines, girl. Literally, I'm like, I don't think that's him.
Listen,
It wasn't some pivotal role. It was a part that I think I literally got because I was in town and had tested negative.
That's perfect. And listen,
it's not like I brought my spirit to the part or anything. You're not going to leave being like, oh, Jen Kober really made that show for me.
It's a good payday, Jen. It's a good payday.
Well, you're going to be like, oh my God, was that Jen Kober? Wait, go back.
Listen, who that's not. I'm just looking at the paycheck. As long as you don't have to rely on that extra $600.
Well, you know what? You know what the bullshit about it is that I was so excited because I finally qualified for SAG health insurance this year.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers raised the fucking...
That's fucked up. I saw that.
So you had to make 18. I made 19. They're like, now you need to make 25. I'm like, so I got to come up with $6,000 more in a market where there is no... I mean...
There's no work.
Okay. All right. So...
There's no work.
I'm getting every procedure done this year. I was just at the ophthalmologist this morning, like, let's get some laser surgery on these eyes before the end of the year. Let's go.
Right. So now you're not eligible for that insurance now?
No, I have to make $6,000 more this year. And I don't my anger is right now, right at SAG because they're the ones who are changing my insurance. But I'm sure that it had to do with the numbers and an insurance company who, I mean, it's a business, whether we like it or not. This is the plan we've chosen right now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really getting affected by all that.
I mean, health insurance is big money. Oil's big money. I mean, they just
Amazon is big money. There's food delivery, hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes. These are all companies I wish I had some stock in.
Big money. I mean, Zoom is big money. We're not using Zoom, but Zoom is really big money.
Let me tell you this. The first show I did with Zoom, I did with other people.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't know any of the caveats or any of the things that could go wrong.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, it was easy. I'm telling my agent, it was so easy. Book these colleges to have me come do this with Zoom. It'll be fine. So I get myself a room set up. I pay the little fee. I go to do a show at a college, and I didn't know that you were supposed to close it off and not only let certain people in the room or whatever. And we start getting Zoom bombed by some college student. So I'm telling a story. You know how my act is stories.
Yeah.
So I'm telling a story about my grandma, about sweet Nana. And right onto the screen pops a big black fella just holding his wiener. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, and then I'm like, because I can see the screen. They can still hear my voice, but they can still hear me. But on the screen is this big black fella. And I'm like, oh, dear God. Now, listen, I have been heckled in a lot of ways. Okay. A lot of very creative ways. No one has ever hit me with the big black cock right visually in the middle of my show. And it was hard for me to regroup. I'm not gonna
I bet you're just like, I got a blackout from this.
I know, right? And as it turns out, it was one of the college kids, fucking with the event, trying to be funny and whatever. There was one kid in the room. I don't think on Zoom at first they realized we could see them too. So there's one kid in the room just blazing up a bong and shit, just the most opaque, huge billows of smoke coming out. And I'm like, do you get that there are professors in this room, friend? And you are just token up in front of everyone. We can all see you. We see you. There was one couple at one of my Zoom shows that just slept through. They had their screen up. They logged in. They paid money, and then they fell asleep on their couch during the show. I mean, at the top of the show, they opened up their computer and then went night night. And the only time this woman moved was to get up in the middle, get herself a glass of milk. She drank the milk. She looked at the computer. She sat back down, went right back to sleep.
Wow.
That is a fan. I mean, why even log on and be there? But they I guess maybe hearing my voice subliminally did something. I don't know.
I appreciate the commitment, though. You know what
I do too.
I appreciate the commitment like a lot. Like the glass of milk really does it for me because I would have shit the couch because I'm lactose intolerant. You know,
well, it just like I'm so. I mean, I don't know if they had the volume off, or they like just wanted to show me they supported me, and I don't know what it was, but God bless them. I mean, that's all I can say at this point.
You see any news sticking out where they're like just heroin, like just shooting up and passing out, like? What are they doing?
They were just. It was an older couple. Like this was somebody's mom and dad. The fella was in like all camouflage. These are my fans. These are the people that like me. And God bless them, they had like an evening nap planned, but they just weren't going to miss the Jen Kober show. God,
listen, it was the Jen Kober and heroin day. You know,
sometimes that's what
we're going to listen to some Jen
Kober and hard drugs.
Jen, that could be a market you can easily be tapping into, right there. The heroin.
I know, right? Because druggies aren't going anywhere.
No, they're not. Shoot up and listen up.
That's right. Shoot up and listen up. That might be our T-shirt. That's good.
That's your logo, right? That's your tagline right there. Shoot up and listen up. Holy shit, dude! That is so crazy. That is so crazy. So, are you like? Do you have any like tours lined up in the next 2-3 months? Because I'm hearing comics going out of town to do shows, and I'm like, really?
I got asked to headline a show in San Diego that's happening in the parking lot of the comedy club.
Okay.
And they were like, we sanitize the microphones, we switch out microphones between performers, everybody's wearing a mask in the audience. Okay. Everybody's social distanced, whatever, and here's what we'll pay you. And I was like, okay, I'll come down there and do that. You know what I mean? My neighbor lives in San Diego, so she was going to give me a ride down there, and we're going to go do these 2 shows, pop back up, no big deal. And then I got an email from one of the producers at the club who's like, hey, can you sign this petition? The city of San Diego is trying to shut us down. I'm like, oh Christ, I'm not getting into all this. Like, oh, if we're signing petitions, maybe the show's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's going to go down. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like an outdoor setting is the only setting I would be comfortable in.
Well, San Diego, there was an article that just came out that I sent to a friend of mine this week, that San Diego shut down 2 outdoor comedy clubs.
Yeah, that's what this is. This is one of them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, so I was like, does this happen? What's going, I don't know. I'm not counting on it. I'm not banking on that cash, but I do have some college shows coming up that I'm doing online. Yeah. I'm trying to, stay as busy as I can. I mean, we're not going to be back on stage for like a year. That's just the way this is going to happen.
Yeah, so that's pretty safe to say that.
You gotta figure this out.
Okay, 2 questions. How long have you been doing college shows for, and what is your experience like when you do college shows?
I started doing colleges in like 2008, so it's been a really long time. And I do a seriously good number of them every year, with a couple of years of exception, but I was doing other stuff. But I think there's lots of it varies. Let me say that. College shows vary. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's a packed house and you're killing it and it's a full auditorium and you're like, yes, this is awesome. This is perfect, because they're young and they watch stuff and they know pop culture and they're into stuff and you can use the big words. They're literally studying things. So they're in that intelligent kind of mindset and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Or it's like you performing for 8 kids in a dining hall who didn't even really know there was going to be a fucking comedy show, but there you are, and you have to say these words for an hour, even though they just want you to shut up so they can continue on their laptops and do their homework.
Wow.
So you don't know what it is, but the check always clears. God bless a college gig because you're not chasing anybody down for money. Nobody's really going to tell you you're pretty funny for a girl. Like it's, there's a lot of great things about working a college gig as well. But sometimes they leave something to be desired as far as, a fun gig because they're appealing to students who could give a shit.
I've seen your material, but your material is more. I mean, you're a storytelling comic. I'm also a storytelling comic, but I think my stories are, a lot crazier and edgier than yours are. But do you feel like when you tell your stories, have you ever been kind of heckled or been confronted? Oh, well, you can't say this or say that because PC culture is very, very big and prominent in the college.
I brought a kid with nobody has said anything to me about my material. I feel like even when I say things that you shouldn't say, I say them. I have that kind of Sally Field effect, like because I'm so sweet and cherubic looking. Like it's okay if I say fuck because I'm not talking about fucking. I'm being like fuck. You know what I mean? Like so, there's just kind of a difference. I feel like even just in me saying things than maybe in someone who like looks harsher or is more, edgy or known for being more blue than I am or something. But I think that I brought an opener with me once.
Uh-huh.
He told a joke about having a girl in his bed and they'd been drinking and he was like kissing the girl and he's thinking, oh, I'm going to score with this girl. And he goes to the bathroom to see if he has a condom and he comes back and she shit the bed. It's a super funny story. He like very politely like cleans her up. He's like, I don't want to take her clothes off to, you know what I mean? Like he's being a gentleman about it, but a girl just shit his bed that he thought he was like going to have sex with.
Oh.
So he's all in like Casanova mode and there's shit in the bed. Yeah. So it's really funny. It's a really funny story. Yeah. And I thought nothing of it when he told it at the gig. It got a great response at the gig. Everybody laughed. We moved on. And then, like days after the gig, I get a call from my agent. Apparently the school called her and they just couldn't believe that he told a story about taking advantage of a drunk girl. And I mean, they kind of insinuated that it was like date rapey. And I was like, clearly you weren't listening to the story. You know what I mean? Like,
no, he kind of shit. Like, I know. That's crazy.
But they acted like they were going to have like workshops with the students over the trauma that this kid caused with this story. And I was like, all right, I have what I call a $1 million list of college schools. And those are colleges I wouldn't go back to unless they paid me $1 million. Wow. So I like to say that school made the $1 million list. And they loved me. But I mean, if you're going to be that, I listen to the story. It's not like when I bring other people with me, I watch them. I see what they do.
Yeah.
For the very reason, right? Yeah. I don't want somebody to say like, oh, your opener said blah, blah, blah. Or, and I want to see if they can do it because I'll tell you this, I have taken some very talented, very funny people to a college gig and they couldn't make that shift. There's a shift, there's a different vibe. They're a different kind of crowd. And if you can't come at them from the right way and get them from the beginning, they're not like real forgiving and I'll get them in the end. No, you won't. So it's a different beast. It's a different beast. And so I want to watch the people I bring with me so I know who's doing it well and who's not. So I know who to bring with me next time. Right. I want to be somebody that's going to kill.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I've done a few colleges. I had a very interesting experience. I had Jackie Cation on last Friday on. I am like, she just touches my heart. So
she is one of the top 5 comedians of all time that are living for me, simply because of her incredibly huge brain. Like the girl is so fucking smart. Her jokes are smart. Her material is smart. There's a bit she did before about like it was about getting spanked, I think, and how she would be reading and then somebody would do something and it's just, I can't even remember that's how I know something's funny is when I can't remember the actual words of it. And all I remember is like, I laughed so hard. So she's so smart in everything she does. I mean, she's just fucking good.
I think, when I look at somebody like Jackie Cation, I look at somebody like Laurie Kilmartin, another
great one. Yes.
I look at these outstanding and phenomenal comedians, and they've been in the game for 25 plus years. sometimes upsets me and like saddens me that they're not a household name around the world. Actually, not just around the, I mean, they should be really in the top 10 of Forbes list. Like they should be getting paid on that level.
Yeah.
And they don't nearly have the kind of accolades and the kind of money that they make simply because the time that they started doing comedy, and even today, women are just not, as female comics, this, I'm preaching to the choir over here, like we are not valued on the same level as a dude telling a joke about how he was stroking his dick all night.
And the women that are talking about men.
The women that are talking about men, right? Because they're part of the bro club.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want these women that, it's girls that even if they aren't talking about men, they talk like men. Like it's there's a broiness to it.
Yes. So you either become a bro or you're part of the bro clique, right? Yeah. So it's like, oh my God, I'm like so pretty. I'm just gonna jelly check you like me. Give me stage time, and you're just.
I never responded to those. There's a girl persona of comedians that talk about what sluts they are and how much they drink and what drunk sluts they are when they drink, and like that just never appealed to me. And while I call it the Chelsea Lately syndrome, it's and Chelsea Handler did it the best.
Yeah,
but there were I feel like 8 other comedians that I could rattle off but won't that are sort of wannabes of that, and she came along and did it well, and then the rest just sort of to me looked like copycats or clingers or it didn't catch for them. Yes. And the reason is because someone else has already done that. So, it just, but that certain persona never really appealed to me.
Yeah, me neither, Jen. I think for me, it's also, maybe for me, it also is like a cultural thing in the sense that, I came here, I moved to the US when I was 15. So I grew up in a conservative Muslim household. You don't drink. Like in a conservative Muslim country, you don't drink. Like you can't even find alcohol. Like you go to bar, you can't find alcohol. There's no bar. We don't have bars. We don't have clubs. Like you don't grow up with that stuff. So when you get here and you see people, you're like, oh my God, I'm like such a slut. I love to drink, and I'm just like, I don't think you should be proud of that.
I know. It's funny what people can make a living saying in this country. I'm sure that was surprising too.
I was just like, wait, why would you? But the first time I heard it, I was like, why would you say that? Like, why would people that?
And listen, there's some amount of it. It's not that I don't think those comedians are talented or good or whatever. It's that to me, what I'm looking for in a comedian is somebody I want to listen to more of. I want to know their ideas on things. I get where they're coming from. Their perspective is so very strong and focused to me that I'm like, oh my God, I got to hear what Chris Porter is saying about the fucking quarantine. I got to hear what, whoever is saying about, comedians that I like want to hear from that are like hitting it. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
So for me. And so I want to hear like an hour of that. When I think of that sort of persona, that like drunk, giggly girl, whatever that is, some people do it well, but I can only take that for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, channel change. Like I don't.
I think your tolerance is a little higher than mine. Like the moment I see them backstage, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I can't.
I mean, there's some that I just don't care for. I mean, we all have taste. We're not only are we comedians, but we're also fans of comedians, and so I think we have all the things that we respond to and that we find sort of delightful and provocative in a performer that other people might not appreciate because they don't. We're looking at something else. We're listening to the art form as someone who does the art form. So
right. We're also like in the trenches looking at somebody who gets out of the trenches for a little bit and then comes back, right? So for us, our perspective is not just as an audience, but also wow, I'm also a comic, like from that comic brain you're looking
yes,
at. You know?
yes.
You're looking at
I really do want to kind of sit down with somebody like a Dane Cook who just had everything happening and then just didn't. You know what I mean? Like, or even like a, somebody who, sort of phased out. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to love so many female comedians who just don't do it anymore. They don't do it. They're like, yeah, bye. You know what I mean? Like Rita Rudner, I could watch Rita Rudner like read the fucking phone book. I used to love her. I don't know why. She was like some sweet little ditzy white woman talking about her married life, and I was like a fourth grader, but I just thought she was fucking funny. You know what I mean? Like this sort of and I think that having come here, were you watching stand-up comedy before the age of 15 before you got here?
I watched stand-up comedy of like local stand-up comedy in Pakistan. There were only two big comics at the time. Of course, they were men. I had never seen a woman do stand-up comedy ever because that's not like the environment I grew up in.
That's interesting.
It's not until I moved to the U.S. That the concept of stand-up even started to sink in, that's actually a thing, and then people can make a living doing it.
Right.
The first time I watched stand-up was the monologue for David Letterman. Because being a New Yorker, right? Growing up in New York, so I'm like new to New York. I'm watching David Letterman do his monologue. I'm new to America. I don't have the cultural references. So you have to know the nuances and the cultural references in order to get a lot of the jokes and the monologues that he would do. I have four older brothers, and my brothers would be sitting around laughing because they had been here for a while. They were acclimated to the culture. I was not. So I would turn to my brothers, and I would be like, why is that funny? Like, why is that funny? You know?
Yeah.
They would shush me. They were like, shh. They would shush me and not explain to me what the fuck is happening, right?
I still to this day have to send things to my friend Jeff and be like, I don't get this. Why is this funny? And then he'll tell it to me. I'll be like, oh my God, that's hilarious. But I didn't get the reference. Or it's like talking about something political that I missed. And I'm like, no, that's great. That's great. You know? So I still do that.
I mean, Jen, you made me feel less bad about my 15-year-old self. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. I think that it's always interesting to me when people get into stand-up, like when in their life it sort of becomes the thing for them. And it has always been my thing. Like I feel like at 3 years old, you could have I feel like I was I started doing stand-up when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
So I've been doing it alone, flipping at least 10 years.
But wait, you were like 3 years old. You're like, I get that.
I just knew, like, my mom and dad watched, The Tonight Show very religiously. And I would always try to, the way my mom's TV was at the end of her bed. So if you sat lower than the horizon of her bed, she couldn't even see that you were there. So we would crawl in and just sit there really low and watch her TV late at night. And I would watch tons and tons and tons of the Johnny Carson show. And the first comedian I remember thinking was funny was Joan Rivers.
Wow.
And I just, God, as a little kid, I thought, and my mom was always very sarcastic and funny in that way. And even though she was, not my favorite person, she was always very funny. She was always very, very biting, very, very much like Roseanne. You know what I mean? With that, sort of, like, everyone else liked my mom. That was for sure. So it was very funny.
I'm smelling a narcissist, Jen.
Yes. So she was very funny as well. And so I think that always as a little kid, like, my goal at all times was to make people laugh. It just always has been. Whether I was going to put that into a career or not kind of was, up to me. But the only other thing I could have become was a lawyer because I can argue with a wall. So, like I really have points to make to the wall, and I really could present a whole case. But that was a lot of paperwork, and I was like, nope.
There's a lot of reading. My ADD can't tolerate all that level of reading. That's a little much. Can we just talk about narcissistic mothers for a little bit? Are you cool with that? Okay. So I also have a narcissistic mama, and that's how I detected that the moment you said that. And I was like, okay, I know about that one. My mom. So, I mean, I grew up with a narcissistic mom. Do you feel like you were like 3 years old, 4 years old, you're like, I'm super attracted to doing stand-up comedy. I just gravitate towards the art form. Do you also feel, having grown up with a narcissistic mother, and maybe perhaps that bringing a level of pain and perhaps trauma of some kind, where you have to kind of perform for this person, and you're just like, I'm gonna just do stand-up so I will be also likable like this crazy person is?
Yes. To all of that, yes. Yes. There was definitely the like, making her laugh made her be nice. When she was laughing at me, when she was, I competed in speech when I was in high school.
Okay.
So I traveled literally the whole country, like, performing, doing this speech. And so I was very good at it. I was like a national champion like 5 times.
Wow.
So I traveled like a lot, and I went to a lot of, like, I did tournaments in, Chicago and LA and San Jose and New York, being from this little podunk town in Louisiana. Like, that's just how good I was at the speaking, at the talking, at the being. I did humorous interpretation. It was funny. You know what I mean? So, and that made her very happy. So she traveled with me a lot to do that because I was winning, and therefore that meant she was a winner.
That's right. Because it made her look good.
Right.
It wasn't about you, though, Jen. It was about her.
Right. And then literally the minute I stopped doing speech and went to college, like, she was done with me. That was,
that's enough out of you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, go on. I don't think she's never visited me in Los Angeles or even, I mean, I think she's been to Los Angeles, but not to see me.
Has she been to your shows?
Oh, yeah. Shows I did at home and stuff like that. Sure.
And how is she with you? Is she supportive? Is she nice? How is she with you?
Well, there's a restraining order out now, so we don't speak.
Oh, shit. Okay, damn. Okay. Right. I get it, Jen. Listen,
yeah. Yeah. So it definitely went sour and south, but only because, I refused to have toxic relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always had like a really nervous stomach. Like, I was one of those people that, like, when I got nervous, I would just barf just on the street, wherever I was. Like, I had a really acidic stomach situation kind of all the time. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I cut my mama out of my life, girl, gone.
Right.
Gone. Yeah. Like,
so
my whole body feels better.
I bet. I mean, look, your body, there is such thing as muscle memory. There is such body memory. Your body remembers.
I actually just went to muscle therapy, where they muscle test you using your arm. Have you ever heard of this?
I've heard of it, but I've never done it.
It's super cool because the point of the therapy is to find the trauma in your muscles and release it, and literally release it, because you can talk all you want about your problems and feel like you've dealt with them with all the talking you can do, but it's still, like you say, that trauma is still remembered in your muscles and in the fibers of your being. And so it really does kind of, it's a way to replace that trauma in your muscles with positive mantras and just more, positive statements and things like that. Super helpful. Super helpful.
So it helped you a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, you carry that around. I mean, even if you think it's because this, Mona, it's hard to forgive someone who ain't sorry.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Like and you have to forgive. I have to forgive this woman for me. I don't want to carry this shit around. I don't want to take this into relationships. I don't want to, I mean, I'm getting into relationships with women. I don't know if the haircut gave it away, but it's you don't want to bring that trauma to another, because it's very easy to replace a girlfriend with your mother. It's just very easy to do. And so you don't want to bring that trauma, you don't want to bleed all over the person that didn't cut you.
Yes.
Is the thing. And so I think I've taken the attempt to forgive and the attempt to, evolve and change myself very seriously. And that was like a lovely, I felt like I had dealt with it. But when I released all the stuff with this guy, I was like, oh, wow. I even feeling like I had dealt with so much of it, I still had so much of it, that sort of residual emotional bong resin that we all carry around with us, even when you think something is kind of over and done with. So,
I mean, it's interesting. You said that about the stress, carrying the stress in your stomach. I had such a sensitive stomach as a kid. I still do. Looking back on it, and after I've been in therapy for 13 years now, and thank God for therapy, because holy shit. I mean, my stress was also always in my stomach, and as a kid, I didn't understand that, and I'd be in pain, I'd be tumbled over, and I'd have my mom like screaming on top of me. And the more she screams, the more the pain kicks in, and you just don't know what the fuck is going on. And then as an adult, you're like, oh, it was your crazy bitch juice. Your crazy bitch juice that was fucking making me sick.
Yes.
Sick.
Yeah. And it's also, you get, like you said, you get in that mode where you're so used to being the one that can, kind of make light of, I was clearly like,
you're trying to be the
peacemaker and the kind. Yeah.
You're the fixer.
And that carries its own weight for me as well. Like that's also something to let go of, is that like, I don't need to entertain everyone. I can let that be my job and then be how I really am. And P.S. naturally, I'm an entertaining bitch. I just am. I'm fucking hilariously funny almost all the time. And I'm a genuinely happy person now.
Yes.
But there was a time, because she put me through so much shit, where I just thought, is this cavern of sorrow ever going to end? Mm-hmm. And someone said something to me that I thought was so beautiful. And they said that, that sadness is carving out a hollow so that you can fill it with happiness, And so that was such a lovely image for me to take with me from all those things and to try to actually do,
Do you have siblings, Jen? Do you have siblings? Or do you have brothers?
I do. I have a sister and a brother.
And do you guys get together and kind of talk about that, or you don't really?
They are team mama.
Are they now?
My mama controls the money. That's what you got to.
Are you the oldest?
I am.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. You were
and I'm the gay one.
And you're the gay one. And in Louisiana. Oh,
they're big Trump supporters, so you can imagine how well we'd be getting along, even if we weren't. So
that's not going to work out.
No. It's not. They're. Yeah.
How much, Jen, do you think? You're just like you said. You're a natural born entertainer. You're naturally funny. That's not something that you have to kind of put an effort in. But how much do you feel has trauma played a life in you being funny and becoming who you've become?
I mean, I think it's the base for it, for sure. I mean, I think that what the key to it has been for me, and I think one of the reasons that I am so funny and that people do like relate to it so much, is because I'm putting that pain into it. Like, I'll tell you about the pain. I'll tell you about the time I got the shit beat out of me with a spatula. I'll tell it to you, and it will be hilarious, even though at the time, you know what I mean? It wasn't. I think that's kind of the catharsis of it for me. And looking back on it, it really was funny, but at the time, oh my God, I thought I was, living in a nightmare. So it's very funny, the things that we cling on to from childhood, the things that we don't. I mean, I'm sure there are things that happened that if you told them to me or showed me that they happened, I'd be like, oh God, I don't even remember that. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny what little, and other things that could have been just as minuscule. I'm sure there are things that my mother doesn't even remember saying, and those words ring in my fucking ear loud all the time. And she probably doesn't even have a cognitive recollection of saying it. You know what I mean? So you don't ever know what's affecting someone. And You know, the answer to that is to just be kind in most situations. And so,
you know, I read this really great quote by Jim Carrey, and he said, you know, it is possible to forgive someone and never let them back into your life. It is very possible.
Agreed. Right?
Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I need you back in my life.
Agreed. And that was the place I got to, even with my talkie therapist, was, you know, even if my mother came to me now and admitted everything that I think she did, right? Even if she said all of the things I wanted her to say, I wouldn't believe it. So what's the point? You know what I mean? Like there's no amount of her that's going to fix what hurts in me. And so I have to fix what hurts in me and kind of come to that place within myself where I can say, you know what? I run this bus. Yeah. I'm the driver. Right. I say who gets on and off and you know, it's going to be a good time. And if you don't want to be on it, bye. You know, I mean, I genuinely feel happier without her in my life. Now, my father and my siblings are a different story, but her, I'm certainly like.
And what's your relationship like with your dad? Is he supportive of you?
I mean, I haven't spoken to the man. I have not spoken to any of them since 2014.
Wow. That's it's very hurtful, Jen. You know, I went through this thing with my family. I didn't speak to them for 8 years. I mean, I have 4 older brothers. My father passed away back in 2005, so can't talk to him anymore. But my mom, you know, it's like this weird, tumultuous relationship. And she's currently in Pakistan, and I called her the other day to check up on her because I
wish my mother was in fucking Pakistan.
What the fuck? Dude?
I would give anything.
I'm like, Mom, what the fuck are you doing in Pakistan in the middle of a goddamn pandemic? Like, you know what? Your logic, your world, live how you want to. I'm not even gonna fucking touch that. Like, you do you, boo. You do you.
Exactly.
I called my mom up and I was talking to her, and she was just like, she's like, I'm so happy you're not married and don't have kids. Jen, what mother says that to their daughter?
Girl.
Jen, what mother? Tell me, Jen.
When I came out to my mother, she told me I murdered the child that she raised. So mama's got their own little digs. They just, I think they don't even think about what they're saying. You know what I mean?
I think that, I think as they get older, the filter, the facades come out, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work putting those filters and facades of, I love you. And it's like, bitch, you don't. But, you know, and when those filters come down, I think, you know, one thing that I've realized about my mom is, or actually just about narcissists also in general, they don't really love themselves. If you love yourself,
it's all about insecurity. They are the most insecure people on the planet.
I'm like, there's no way that you can love yourself and treat yourself this way. There's just no way.
Yeah, girl, listen to me. The one thing that also helped me in the forgiving of my mother without actually dealing with her is knowing that someone hurt her. Someone was this way to her. I'm sure it was her father, because I knew my grandmother, and this isn't how she was. Yeah. You know, I think that she saw narcissistic behavior in him rewarded. I think she saw him get everything she wanted, and she wanted to be that way as well. She grew up as an only child, even though she had other siblings. They didn't live with her. She was, you know, so I think she kind of got a little spoiled that way. And I think that she was very hurt by her father. And so that's what she knows, you know. Oprah says it, hurt people. But
go Oprah.
So by knowing that, really that is the only thing that makes me like
have compassion for her.
Yeah. Is that knowing that like she's not, this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's not like she's evil and has been possessed by the devil, even though it very much feels like that sometimes.
Right.
This was done to her. She was hurt by someone. And, you know, while that doesn't make me want to have her in my life, it does make me not want to, you know, smash her head with a skillet.
For sure. 100%. Jen, like your, I don't know what kind of relationship you had with your siblings growing up, but I had a very kind of, our family dynamic was very strange. Are
you the only girl?
I'm the only girl. I'm the youngest.
I'm the youngest.
I have 4 boys.
Yeah.
4 boys. Like, that's a lot of testosterone to get through and to deal with. And 2 of my brothers were given expired vaccination for polio, and they ended up getting polio because of it in the 70s in Pakistan. Yeah. So 2 of my brothers have polio. Yeah. And that's how we started.
So what did that do to them physically?
I mean, it cripples you. You're crippled for the rest of your life. I know we can't really say that word anymore, but you're handicapped for the rest of your life. My second brother has polio in both his legs, and my third brother has polio just in his left leg. So they had to go through multiple surgeries. They had to put screws in their legs to keep their legs straight. They have to wear crutches. They have braces on.
And they wonder why nobody wants the shot from Russia. Fuck. Oh my God. Like,
listen,
expired vaccine. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Expired vaccine. Yeah, my brothers got expired vaccine, and we started. So my mom experienced a lot of trauma. She experienced a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. She has to leave 3 kids behind, take these 2 sick kids to America, all by herself. She's the first woman in her family.
She brought the 2 boys with polio to America first.
By herself, yes. I mean, my mom has, if you look at my mom's story, like just an isolated story of what this woman has been able to achieve on her own, is fucking incredible. She's just an incredible woman. But then when the moment you include like the mom factor, you're like, oh, okay, that's what you fucked up.
Yeah. That's the part where you just don't excel.
You're annihilated.
And I also think that, I mean, I don't know how old you are.
Yeah.
But I think that when we were kids, there's like a sort of parenting how-to, I feel like, movement that kind of happened. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to spank our kids anymore. We're not going to give them a bunch of sugar. We're going to make sure that they, we don't hit them. We're going to, they have like all these like rules that they follow now. My mama could drive a car and beat the shit out of you while you were in the way back of that car, while she was putting on eye makeup and fucking playing with the radio. Like, there was I didn't wear a seatbelt ever in my life.
Wow.
The playground had concrete. That slide in the middle of the summer in the South, my mother would just, I had on shorts. She would just send my fat little ass sizzling down that fucking slide. Nobody cared. So I'm like, you realize I'm cooking on this fucking thing, right? Like it just wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? Like, my mother, I thought vegetables came in a can. Like, that was, my mother cooked every night, almost every night. We were not restaurant-y kind of people. My dad was a doctor, so when he was doing his residency, we didn't have any money. So, my mama cooked every night, but I thought vegetables came in a can. Like, that's the way we were raised. Like, macaroni and cheese in a box. That's, and now there's all this fresh food and love your children and make sure that they do this and speak to them in this way. And that stuff just wasn't around when we were kids.
No. Me neither.
Well, certainly wasn't fucking around when she was a kid. You know what I mean? So there's just that vocabulary, that space that you leave for children, that space that you leave for compassion, that space that you leave for,
listening,
some sort of intuitive, empathic experience with your child. That wasn't happening. It just wasn't. My mother put me in front of a television at a very young age. Yeah. And, this close to it, nobody gave a shit.
Right.
And, I mean, I probably could recite almost every episode of Hee Haw from 1978 for you right now. Like, it's a lot. My head, if I could get that out of my head, I could cure disease.
I don't know what Hee Haw is, Jen.
Oh, girl, I'm going to show you right after this. I'm going to
you're fine, Mona.
Redneck country bumpkin.
Oh, I need to see this. I must see this immediately.
They're literally in a cornfield.
Wow.
Like, peeking out from a cornfield and telling shitty jokes. It's genius.
I love corn. I love cornfields too. My God, that sounds wonderful. Please do send it my way.
I will.
I feel like I'm from my south in Pakistan, so I'm kind of.
I get it. You're like a hick in Pakistan.
I'm a hick in Pakistan. We have like our own. I actually was gonna name my first stand-up special "Brown Trash." I shit you not. I was like, I'm gonna name it "Brown Trash" because enough with trashing on white people. It's about.
I had a show for a while that was called One Hick Wonder.
I love it.
I get it.
I love it. Man, you were talking about like spankings and stuff like that. So, and this is in America. I mean, in Pakistan, there's no fucking policing of nothing. You're like, beat the shit out of your kid till they can't breathe. Knock yourself out. Like, who cares? You'll just make another one. It's fine. Go for it. And my mom used to beat the fuck out of us with a rubber pipe. And we used to go to school with scars, like these giant scars on our arm.
A rubber pipe?
A rubber pipe. She had a rubber pipe.
My mother had a paddle hanging on the wall.
Wow.
And it said Mama's Discipline.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I can't get spanked in the bedroom anymore because that spanking fucked me the fuck up. Tell you that much. I'm like, don't fucking touch me.
I never got into the spanking, thank God. Yeah, that wasn't my jam.
If a guy tries to spank I'm like, Mama!
And let me say this. I was recently with a girl who wanted to be spanked. And I was like, I did it a couple times and I was like, I can't do this. I don't want to be turned on by hitting you. Like, I don't think that's a good connection for me to make. I feel like that's.
I think people who have gotten spanked as children go either one of two ways. Either they end up loving it or they end up fucking hating it. I don't think there's a middle ground to this.
Yeah.
Spanking does not have a middle ground. There's like fucking loving it or you're like, get the fuck away from me. Like, don't touch me. And I'm in the latter for sure, all day, every day. We were talking about family traumas and fucked up shit. So here's a little something. Like I mentioned, so when I moved here, my parents lived in Pakistan and I was sent here to live with my 4 older brothers. So at the age of 15, I'm like cooking and cleaning and doing all the domestic stuff for my brothers and stuff. And
Cinderella,
it's just like that little Cinderella story. Only I haven't found my prince yet because he doesn't exist. But I remember this one incident. So I guess when you grow up in violence and physical violence, because I grew up in a very physically violent household. My dad used to beat the shit out of me. My dad used to beat the shit out of my mom. It was just a lot of violence in our house growing up. And then when I moved out here, one Thanksgiving, one of my brothers got really mad at me and pulled a knife on me and tried to go after me. And I literally put on my jacket. So imagine like it's wintertime, East Coast. I forget. Yeah, I think it was Thanksgiving, and it's like fucking 30 degrees outside. And I put on shoes like quickly because there's no time to wear socks because brother's out there with a fucking knife trying to take me down. And I remember like just fucking walking outside in the cold for like 2-3 hours because I was too scared to go home. I was too scared to go home because I was gonna get fucking stabbed.
Wow, girl. Once again, you're just trumping me with stories.
Hey, don't be using that word, Trump.
Sorry, I used it in its verb form, not the.
But it's not about trumping you. It's just about relating.
No, I get it. No, I'm teasing you.
Yeah.
But I think that the stabbing is always to be avoided at a family gathering.
Just a little bit, especially when there's nowhere to go. And you just kind of grow up with this kind of stuff, and I don't know how long it took you to kind of start talking about your traumas. It's taken me a solid 10 years to finally work up the courage to talk about it, to make it funny. I was like, how the fuck do you make this funny? And then it eventually becomes funny. And B, it's just like, how the fuck are people going to react? Like, are people going to just hate you?
I do a bit in my show now where I say, look, the toxic person I don't like my mother. And I say, and when I say that, many of you are like, oh, but that's your mama. Don't you ever say that's your mama. I don't care. You only get one mama in this life. You say that because you had a mama.
That's right.
Okay, you had a mother. You had a mother who was very nurturing and very like caring, and who, even if they were a bitch to you, like they were your mama. Like that's not who I had, right? I had an enemy of the state. So that's just not my experience. And I said, and listen, I didn't know if you could cut your mama out of your life, but I Googled it, and Google said yes. I mean, that's it. It's, that is really, you really kind of have to address people's uncomfortableness with it, because I was telling jokes about her, and and people would be like I could tell that they were laughing, but there was like this
uncomfortable.
That's her mom. There's like this sad part to it, because they feel bad that I don't have a relationship with my mother, when they need to be having a fucking parade that I don't have a relationship with my mother. It's not a bad thing. For her or me. She doesn't like me either. She acts like she does. Like, oh, she's so harmed that we're not. Right? She sent me a fucking. I got a message on Instagram when this whole coronavirus thing first went down. And my mother, it wasn't even, my mother's got me blocked on everything. So it was just from like Steph 475, like a bunch of numbers. And it just said, even though nothing has changed because of your behavior, I pray for your safety.
Oh, Jesus.
And I thought, did I fuck some girl named Steph on the road and just get a caller? Or like, who is this even from? And then when I realized it was from my mother, I was like, oh, geez. This bitch is going to, like, and that's the thing. I truly am one of those people that I don't care what you did 25 years ago. I care if you've evolved since then.
Yeah.
And this message showed me this bitch has not let go of one fucking thing.
No.
She's still clearly right in the midst of it. And I have no intention of, I wrote 800 replies to that message. Some of them were funny. Some of them were mean. And I deleted every fucking one of them and just didn't respond to her. Because you know what pisses a narcissist off?
Yeah.
When you won't fucking respond.
That's right. Because you don't engage.
Yeah. So that's the only way you win with them. So I don't.
I think, and that's a great lesson, right? I think a lot of people who are listening and who might have narcissists in their family that they're dealing with.
I'm sure my mother is watching this right now.
I hope she is too.
No doubt.
I hope she is too. This is what Jen is doing. She's not going to contact you. FYI, Jen's mama. My mom, the interesting thing with my mom is that I stopped looking at my mother as my mother. What do I mean by that? What I did is I just kind of took a step back, and I was just like, I literally don't need anything from you. No validation, no love, nothing. So I kind of told myself this thing. I was like, if I met my mom at a party, right? And she was just this random lady, and she sat down, we started talking, and she started telling me her life story. I was like, how would I feel? I was like, I would feel a lot of compassion for this woman. Like, she has been through a lot. Now, minus the, I haven't really gotten to see the narcissistic side of her, but just her story of all the trauma and all the bullshit she had to go through to be where she is. I was like, how would I feel? I was like, I would have a lot of compassion for her. So I was just like, from this point on, this was like back when I was 27, I made a decision to myself, and I was like, I made a promise. I was like, I will no longer look at my mother as my mother. She is just someone who had really difficult circumstances. If I can talk to her and help her, great. If not, I'm fucking out, right?
Yeah.
The moment she starts to drag me down with her, I'm out. Yeah. You're no longer allowed to do that. And I think my mom has kind of realized that about myself, and I think it took her a long time. My mom's that person that she'll call me one day. She's like, I'm so proud of you. I want you to do all the things you're doing. And next day, she's like, you haven't done anything with your life. You haven't done anything. Then she was praising me yesterday. What the fuck happened? Because like, you're dealing with a fucking loony bin. So it's exactly what you just said. Even if she does come out and confess and say that she did all this shit thing, it doesn't fucking mean anything.
Yeah, it wouldn't mean anything to me because I just don't believe the words out of her mouth. There's zero trust there. So it wouldn't matter even if she said all the things.
Yes.
That even if she, validated all the things that I think went wrong, my side of the story, which isn't the side of the story. Even I know that, you know what I mean? I know that the truth lies somewhere in the middle of it, but I'm not gonna, there's just no, that's done.
Yeah,
You know,
unless our mothers decide to pull a Ted Bundy, and by that I mean, you know, like right the night before Ted Bundy was gonna be given the electric chair, he started confessing and started going in grand detail and talking about how he murdered every one of his victims and had sex with them.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm like,
like I said, I feel like that was what I really had to go through with my therapist, was like envisioning her, like what would that look like? What would it look like if she were to mess up and come clean and say all the things you wanted her to say? And even that it wasn't enough. It wasn't, you know, fulfilling.
How do you feel that plays into your relationships? Are you the person that likes to rescue women? Are you a rescuer? Are you a fixer? Yeah. I know that because I am one.
Oh, yes.
I know that because I am one. That's why I know.
Though, I mean, I feel like I am evolved. I was recently seeing a girl. I mean, as much as you can see someone during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And I really liked her. She's really great. We were having great sex, really fun. I enjoyed her, but there was something missing for me. And what it was that
rescuing part.
She was nice. Like I didn't know she was so nice to me. She was so considerate. She was so that I was like, I'm a little bored.
Oh,
really, I know, girl. That was like 4 more therapy sessions. But it was very interesting that I'm so used to trauma, to volatile situations that, P.S., I do a lot of help in creating, that this being so normal and healthy felt boring or simple or you know what I mean? And so
yes. And so did you cut it off with this person, or what happened?
I haven't cut it off, but I mean, I've let it fade. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of just, you know, washed.
Did you feel like if you would have had a conversation with them, be like, hey, listen, you're really nice. I've never really kind of experienced this where I don't have to fix anything. And I'm feeling a little bored. It's not because of you. It's because of my own shit, you know?
I did not say that because I did not feel like that would be received in the way that it was meant, right? I feel like, especially when you're dealing with ladies, there's some things that once you say them, you're never going to be able to unsay them. Even if you're going to have to qualify what you meant for the rest of your life, and then it's just going to look like you're qualifying what you meant, right? Like, I can't be like, I'm not into you because you're nice. You can't say that to someone.
No, it's not that you're not into them. You are into them. It's just that there's this other bullshit trauma from your life.
Yes, but I think that because this was like probably the first time that this has happened to me, where I was like, oh, there isn't anything here to fix. I can just relax into this and let it be nice. And you know what I mean?
Yes.
I think because of that, I was looking for that. So I kept seeing lack where there probably wasn't lack. Right. But I kept feeling it, and I kept being like, I'm also very used to kind of feeling very intensely about girls very quickly. Right. Okay. So I the minute I see you touch, that's why online dating has never worked for me, because I will charm the shit out of you over a text message, but I want to be in front of you. I want to see if we have a spark in real life, because us talking on text is going to be awesome and great. I know this. So I don't need to do that with you a bunch before we meet. I would rather get to the hey, let's see if there's anything happening here. Instead of talking, online for a million years.
Right.
So, and this girl was a girl I knew for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so,
this is somebody you knew. You didn't meet her online.
No. We had known each other for years, and had just never been single at the same time. And so we had always, crushed on each other. We made out a few times when we were kids and stuff, and but had never been single at the same time, and now we were, and it all seemed, sort of lovey and gooey, and it was great, and we had a really good time together, like I said, but there was also this like,
it's too nice.
Yeah, like, can we? I didn't want to have a fight. Like, it wasn't like that was what was missing.
Oh,
but
no, I know exactly.
There was some like ravenous, raw, vengeful aggressiveness that wasn't there. And
I need you to give me drama, would you? Would you just give me some drama, would you?
But I mean, I guess I feel like all I did in my other relationships was be like, God, this is so much drama. I don't want drama. And so I don't think it is that I want drama. It's that I want like there to be like some
excitement.
Yeah, excitement. Like something I don't know, something I'm contemplating. Like, is this what? You know what I mean? Like, right. And I feel like, once all our cards were on the table and everybody was kind of dealing on the upper deck, I was like, oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe this is.
But but Jen, don't you think that is like such tremendous progress? The fact that
for sure.
The fact that you're just like, okay, I'm now in a healthy space where at least I'm attracting healthy people. Yes. Which is great. Now it's just about finding the person that excites me also and keeps me engaged and has all these amazing qualities.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I am so not there right now. I am surrounded by broken and fucked up and narcissistic men.
When I don't understand how people date boys. I really don't. They're so completely inferior to us in every fucking way.
Yeah, and it's so rough.
They're emotionally unavailable. I really don't know how straight women do it. I don't know how you do it.
And we have to deal with like penises that are not always the best. It's painful. It's like physically and emotionally fucking. I was dating this guy right before the pandemic hit. And he was very charming and we met, like we were hitting it off and stuff. And then he started like maybe like 2 weeks in, he was like, hey, I kind of lost my apartment because it was flooding in it. So, you think I can come and crash with you for a little bit? Nah. What? Then he was like, yeah, I gotta go get Airbnb. You think I can borrow $400 from you to like get into it? Nah. Oh, hey, can you drive me? Because I lost my car too. So, hey, can you drive? I was like,
who is this motherfucker? Where did you find him, Craig?
Motherfucker. Yeah, this motherfucker should be on Craigslist, okay?
The broke one. Where'd you find this?
On a fucking dating app called Hinge. I deleted that shit. I have deleted all the apps.
Nah, I have I hang out with my neighbor here, who's a straight girl, and the stories she tells me from that app kill me.
Hinge, right?
Yeah.
Trash.
Totally.
Absolute dumpster juice men is what they should call themselves. I wrote them a message right before I left, and I was like, you guys are literally the worst dating app out there.
Yeah.
Kill yourself. Like, you guys are fucking you guys are fucking atrocious, okay? This guy, it's just like one broken person after the next. I met this other guy, very nice, very sweet, and I was like, something's wrong, something's fishy about the situation. What does he have? 3 kids with a crazy ex who's an alcoholic.
He's living in the house with them because of the COVID?
Oh, no, thank God. No, not but lives nearby. And then on top of that, also got a crazy mama who's always fighting with him and the crazy. I was like, I can't do this.
My friend tells a great story that she got set up and she got there and the guy was a little person and she didn't know it. But, she's a totally human, great person. She sat there and got to know him and she was like, he was really cool. And, and then, he never called her. So she's like, really? And then she goes on another date. and it's also a little person.
What?
Yes. And she thinks, well, now the universe is telling me something.
Yeah, there's a man. Her soulmate is a little person.
Right. So, I mean, there's just, you don't ever know how it's going to go. And I think that it really, what dating online really is an exercise in being kind to people who you have no intention of ever seeing again for one meal.
Jen, that's not how I see it at all. Like, not in the slightest. That's noble of you. That's very noble of you. That is not how I see it in the slightest. I kind of see it as a way of just going there and just getting your self-esteem just smashed into pieces. Just like,
is that what's happening?
That is I go to straight men and they smash my self-esteem into pieces, and then I go to gay men and they rebuild my self-esteem. So it's like, that's what's happening.
When you decide, Mona, that you've had it with men,
just come over to the other side.
I'm a very transitory lesbian. I'm the one on your way from straight to wherever you're going. I'm a really nice landing place.
Do you have a good landing place? You know, one thing I'm always, I was hanging out with some gay girlfriends of mine in San Francisco, and they took me to a lesbian bar, and it was fantastic. We hung out. We were having a great time. And there was this one girl there, and she was telling me, she's like, I was dating men, just like the worst pieces of shit. And she's like, the moment I like switched teams, I went to the other side, I've been with girls. And she's like, it's like the happiest I've ever been in my life.
It is.
But then, Jen, I also hear stories about my other lesbian friends who are like, dude.
Okay, look, some of the career lesbians have some real
career lesbians?
Yeah, some of the career lesbians have a real, like, they have like a shell-shocked kind of a story. Like, you don't want to listen to those girls. Like the ones that have a softball injury and they only wear plaid and a lot of sunbars in the summer. Those are the girls you want to kind of just back away from, right? Find you a cute little butch girl who's got a fantastic strap on. Make yourself happy.
Fantastic strap on. Is that something that is like dished over in like the first conversation? Or okay, so here's the thing. No. Here's the thing, right? I talk to my gay friends and they tell me, they're like, oh yeah, I sent him a shot of my dick and I saw his sexy body. But in the lesbian world, that is not how it goes at all.
No, there will be no pictures of any dicks exchanged between lesbians.
What about dick?
I get a lot of boob shots. I'm always up for a nice.
Okay, boob shots are nice.
A nice waning of your tetons. That's beautiful. Okay. But there's
tetons.
That's something. Yeah, it's not always. I think the strap on is a conversation.
Okay, but that's not an image. That's not like a shot you take, and they're like, you could also have this. Like, no, it's not.
I mean, I guess I have been with girls that if I took a picture of me wearing a strap on and sent it to them, they'd be like, oh my God, that's so hot. I mean, that's not, you know, I feel like I've been with very, sexually healthy women. Yes. But I think also, just women in general. Yeah. Whether it's a strap on or a dick pic, we're not looking for that. There's no part of me that wants.
Yes. And that's interesting,
They're not known for being attractive.
Yes. Trust me. I have been around quite a few. It is not. It's not a lot of fun. One thing that I come across a lot in the straight dating world with men, and I don't know if that's the same for you in the gay world, is that men love to talk about themselves. They don't want to engage you. They don't want to ask you questions. Is that also relevant in the gay world?
I think it depends on the person. When I'm seeing someone, I want to talk about them. I feel like I spend a lot of time in my life talking about me in settings like these or, interviews or being on stage. Like I have plenty of outlets to talk about me. Yeah. So I feel like I'm always trying to kind of draw out other people and hear their story and what they're about. And, that way I can see, do I see myself sort of, meshing in with this person and their habits. But also I think that when you're dating a woman, the key is listening. I mean, right. So if you're not listening and you're not going to go far with a lady. That's just the truth. So I've had so many women say to me like, we'd go on a date, and then like I'd ask them something the next time we spoke about something we said, and they're like, "Oh my God, you were listening? That's so sweet." Sweet. I thought, okay, I'm just listening. Like that's.
Isn't that what like people do? So you would think, but that's not. The one thing that I get with the guys is like because I do this and being a stand-up comic, I'm also a very naturally curious person. I love to learn about people, right? It's just that I do, right? I think also as stand-up comics, I think it's also part of our skill set of just kind of learning about people and listening. But with guys, they'll just be like, yeah, keep asking me. You just go ahead. Oh, you want an answer on something? Yeah, I'm an open book. Just at the moment a guy says to me, I'm an open book, just ask me, I'm like, you can go fuck yourself. You're a narcissist. It's just all about you. Right. What I want to know is the myth of the U-Haul lesbian a true myth?
Yes. Absolutely.
You didn't even like think about that for a while. You were like, no.
I think it's because, women know. We know these things. Like, I know when I meet you if I can live with you. I know when I meet you if I can you know what I mean? I feel like the connection between two women is very quick and very intense. Oh. And if it's very easy to couple up. So I think that especially if you're in a, it may be less of a truism in a big city, but I think in a small town, the minute you couple up with somebody, you're like, and we're married. Like, you know what I mean? Because you've waited so long to find another gay person in your fucking town that once you do, all bets are off and you guys are off to the races.
How old were you when you knew you were gay?
How old are you in third grade? 8? 9?
Yeah, how about that? 7, 8. Yeah.
I kissed a girl in third grade.
Oh, you did, and did she like
my tongue? And she loved it, and we're still friends. Boom. Just saying.
And is she gay?
Nope. Husband and kids.
Wow, interesting. So, and
I was a little Casanova.
When were you? Did you get teased in school for being gay, or did you get nothing?
They didn't know. I dated boys all through high school. I mean, there was no stigma to me almost ever. I didn't even really get bullied for being a fat kid. Like I was just liked. You know what I mean? I was everybody's friend. I wasn't in any kind of group or anything. I hung out with these kids. I hung out with these kids. I mean, everybody loved Jen. You know what I mean? I was like a funny little class clown. And so I didn't, so I really didn't suffer those things very luckily. And I'm very, grateful that wasn't my path.
Yeah. Because your mom was doing it at home.
I think that everyone knew if they made fun of me, what I came back with was going to annihilate them. Yeah. And there was nothing I wasn't afraid to say.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, also the bullying part, the good thing, because your mom was waiting for you at home to do that at home.
Oh, so exactly. I didn't need them to do it at school. I had a mama who would poke at me once I got home, for sure.
I got a profesh at home waiting for me. It's all good. And and like, what do you like? Do you become? Are you in your 20s when you come out to your family that you're gay? Like, how does that?
I came out when I was 21.
Wow! And what was the reaction for your?
My mother told me I murdered the child that she raised.
Okay.
And my dad was like, "Yeah, I know. You cut off all your hair and you wear neckties. I got it."
What about your siblings?
My little brother was young. I think he was probably like 11 or 12 when I came out, maybe 10. Mm-hmm. So I'm much older than him. So he was like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't really mean much to him. I think my sister was a little sort of weirded out about it, but
yeah.
Again, like, I can't worry about what everybody else is thinking. I got to worry about me. So, and I did that. And I was very, very lucky that I never felt like, whether they accepted me or not, I didn't care. I was going to live my truth and say who I was and what I was doing and never be ashamed of that. So I was lucky that regardless of how they think they raised me to behave, they certainly gave me confidence.
That's wonderful. What about your sweet Nana? Did you sweet Nana know?
Yes. Everyone knew. Both my grandmothers knew. They were both had met all of my. In fact,
how were they though? How did they receive it? I mean, I'm thinking about conservative Louisiana grandmas.
I think one grandma was like, oh, well, Albert's got a daughter who's that way, right? And then my other grandma was like,
that's so cute.
And then my other grandma, my mom's mom, I don't even remember having a conversation with her about it. I think she just always knew. I think maybe my mother told her and I didn't even have to be there for. I don't know, but she never was like, I mean, no one ever said anything to me like, don't be that way, or you shouldn't, or it's wrong, or any of those things. I think my mother didn't want people to know because it was a stigma to her. Right? It was socially stigmatic. I don't think truly in her heart cared, but it was a big deal because other people would know. Right. And she didn't when I talked about it. It was fine that I was gay as long as I didn't talk about it on stage. Why do you have to talk about it all the time? Why is it the only thing you want to talk about now? You know what I mean? I was like, bitch, I'm a comedian. If I'm talking about dating someone, I'm talking about dating women. You know, right. This is what it is. And so.
Right. So you never got like the Bible pulled on you or nothing like that.
No, I was raised Jewish.
Oh, you're Jewish, right? Okay, there's also that.
We don't believe in hell. We believe in unemployment, but we don't believe in hell.
Hey, I think one of my absolute favorite things about Judaism is the fact that there is no concept of hell.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's so great. It's freaking great. I love it so much. So what's gonna happen now? So we can't get up on stage for about a year. I
am finishing my book. I am putting the final touches on a rewrite of a screenplay. I am hanging out with my friends. I'm learning how to cook. I got an Instapot. I got a KitchenAid mixer. I'm just doing all I can do to stay busy and keep myself
moving on up, Jen. That's amazing. No,
my friend just walked in with hi-ho cheeseburgers. This is my life.
What is hi-ho cheeseburgers? I need to.
You've never had hi-ho cheeseburger?
No, where is this?
Where is it?
Hee-haw, hi-ho cheeseburgers. What is happening?
It's in Santa Monica. It's got no air conditioning. It's good.
What? I want a cheeseburger now. It's funny because after this, I'm going to go meet another comedian friend and sit down and have Italian dinner with her.
Oh, now you're making me jealous. Where are y'all going?
We're going to the Grove somewhere. She picked a spot. And
I love that. That's what's been really nice too. I had a half birthday on Wednesday. I don't know if
happy belated.
I'm a child and I do. And my sweet friend here took me to, where did we go? Nueva. It's this amazing, it was a new restaurant. This restaurant had opened like the night before. Wow. And she took me there and honey, they were zapping our temperature and everybody had on a fucking face mask and it was very intense, but once just to sit down and be outside and like eat a meal where someone else was like, what, like it just felt so good, even though like we were being served by people in hazmat suits. I'm not kidding you. Like, so seriously. And I'm glad that they did, but like it felt so good to just have that one little outing. You know what I mean? It really does. I feel like what's going to be lovely for me is this appreciation I now have for doing things. Because girl, I am a homebody. You could stick me at home for 2 more fucking years and I'd be just fine.
Yeah.
It's been so nice to like now appreciate getting out of the house.
Yeah.
Going and having a simple meal with my friend. It was lovely. Yeah.
I am a homebody like you too. I love being home. I have a 5-year-old pit bull that I live with, and let me tell you something, Jen. Let me tell you something. I was at this friend that I'm having dinner with tonight. She was telling me that she was getting like catcalled. While she was walking by herself and she was getting catcalled. She was wearing shorts. It's fucking 91 degrees outside today. And she was getting catcalled, and she was like, "These motherfuckers coming out and fucking catcalling me." And she's like, "A bitch can't even wear fucking shorts in this heat. Like, what the fuck, you know?" So she's walking. She's like, "I'm fucking sick of this shit." And as she's walking, and they were saying some like anti-Semitic shit at her. She's Jewish, and they were some anti-Semitic. And she was like, "How the fuck
were they saying, yo Semites?
Yo Semite, yo Semite." he was calling her like a Zionist bitch or something like that. I was like, I would have punched a motherfucker.
How would he even know she would?
I know. I was like,
wearing a Star of David? What's happening?
That's exactly what I said to her too. I was like, are you wearing a Star of David? Are you wearing a face mask with like
with the map of Israel right here?
Like, what is happening? And she was like, I don't know how the fuck they know. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, here she is. Like, when I walk with a pit bull, nobody catcalling me, Jen.
I get it.
There are no catcalls, I assure you.
You keep your pit bull, girl.
Because they look at her and they're like, nice dog. I'm like, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, sir. Exactly. That should be your response. No, this has been such a great and enlightening conversation. I know we're gonna start wrapping up, but I wanted to talk to you briefly about this whole thing that's happening with Chris D'Elia, Brian Callen, and they're dropping like flies, Jen. They dropping like.
Girl, I have to say this about it. First of all, I have not even really followed it because this is not news to me that male comedians are skags, especially when they're on the road. I have to say that I think that they need to be respectful. I think that, I kind of saw some of the Chris D'Elia stuff, and I've never met a more goofy human being in my fucking life than Chris D'Elia. So I can't imagine why he thinks he has enough game to get girls at all. So it doesn't surprise me that he goes after young ones because he's immature. He's a fucking 12-year-old himself.
Yes.
But I think to say that he was grooming someone or, you know what I mean? That I feel like that makes it a little sinister for me, knowing what a fucking goofy kind of a guy he is.
Yes.
But also, I don't want to discount a woman who's saying she felt uncomfortable with this guy.
Yes.
So it's not my circus and not my monkeys. No one ever fucking sexually harasses me. Yeah. I don't ever get approached sexually by male comedians.
What, Jen? This has come as a shock to me, huh?
You know what I get a lot of? I get a lot of boy comedians come up to me and being like, look at that. They want to like parole girls with me. Like they want, look at this bitch, blah, 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 blah. I bet you, why don't you take her from the front? I'll take her from the fucking back. Like that kind of shit. I get that all the time.
Wow.
So that is when I turn to them and explain to them that despite this haircut and the manly swagger with which I carry myself, I'm a girl, and you're not going to fucking speak that way in front of me.
Well said,
Stick your little dick back up inside of you.
Right? Oh, Jen. My thing about these guys kind of dropping like flies. I'm not shocked.
No, who is?
Listen, I read so many of these messages that Chris D'Elia was sending out. I mean, they're like really horrific. Like this one was really stood out to me.
I believe it. I'm from behind a texting thing. I think it's, you could say all kinds of things. I have terrible, I'm sure if you read some of my dirty texting with people, you'd be like, this bitch is sick. But I mean like.
No, but you're doing it to an adult.
Yes, I am speaking
to an underage girl who's like, I'm 17. You're not sending that shit to a 17-year-old.
I agree. And look, I think he should be reprimanded. I think he should be spoken to. I think he should face some amount of ridicule for this. Yes.
Yeah. He got his shows canceled. He got dropped by CAA.
Did he touch anyone?
I don't know about the touching, but
I mean, let's be real. His daddy is Bill D'Elia. We haven't seen the last of Chris.
Yes, for sure.
For sure. If Louis C.K. can come back, certainly Chris fucking D'Elia can too.
Listen, if guys can jerk off in potted plants and still have a career, I think Chris D'Elia is going to
do that.
Harvey Weinstein.
Oh God.
He was jerking off in a potted plant.
I don't even want to know this stuff. Like the things that boys do. I just don't even want to know. I don't want to know. I
don't think he knows that plants don't need protein. He doesn't know that. So like, they don't need protein. Like it's the wrong place. I'm just putting it out there. Fucking ridiculous. Jen, where can people find you and follow you?
JenKober.com. My last name is Kober. It's like sober, but with a K.
Sober with a K. I like it. And what about your
JenCober.com? My Instagram is @JenCober. My Facebook is /JenCober Comedy.
Yeah.
Very, very easy to find. You can Google me and see my mugshot. There's a lot of good stuff.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Do you have any online shows coming up anybody can catch? Or
I am doing some online shows in September, so you can check the website for when that's all happening. I'm doing some shows with Genie Cast again. We had been doing them, through the end of May, and then all hell broke loose, and
sure.
I was like, I can't be funny right now. I need some time.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we took the break. I'm glad we had the hiatus. Yeah. And I'm glad that we now have, candidates to talk about.
Yeah. Listen, I have a congresswoman coming on as a guest next Friday. Congresswoman Katie Hill.
Where is she from?
Oh, she's from California. Openly bisexual Katie Hill.
Is she hot?
She's very cute. Yeah, she's cute.
Yeah?
You need to Google it. She's single. She's totally single now.
All right.
Got divorced. She got divorced from her husband. She was seeing this 20. She was involved with someone. But I don't think she's involved with anybody anymore. But don't quote me on it. But she's wonderful. She's very, very sweet and very intelligent, very well put together. So
that's what I need. I need me a hot politician, yo.
I need that hookup, man. Let's go. Let's make the hookup.
Bitch out. Shit.
Jen, this was so much fun. I'll bring you back on again soon, but this was a lot of fun, and thank you so much for coming on.
Yay. Thank you for having me. It was super fun.
Anytime. Thank you very much. Go get your High Hope burgers. Jealous.
I'll pour a little out for you.
Just hold on to the moldy one till I see you next time.
For sure.
Take a bite in it. You're awesome, Jen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, darling.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
That was the wonderful and amazing Jen Kober. I hope you guys had a great time. I had an absolutely fantastic time. Oh my God, the time just kind of flew by. I didn't even realize the time had flown by, but she's so wonderful. So like I mentioned, Congresswoman Katie Hill is going to be coming on as my guest on the podcast, and I can't wait to have her on and talk about her book and everything. She's just wonderful. So if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. It would mean the world to me if you haven't followed me on my Instagram and Twitter, Mona's Comedy. I'm on Facebook at Mona Shake Comedian. You can also follow me at Mona Shake Comedian, which is my full name.com. And have a great weekend, you guys. I will see you guys on Monday with a lineup of fantastic new guests, new topics. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there.